Hi, and welcome to Hoffman's Hot Seat. I'm Tom Hoffman with One-to-One Media. Joining me today is Mariann McDonagh, CMO at inContact. Today, Mariann and I will be discussing steps that companies can take to differentiate themselves through superior customer support. Mariann, thanks again for joining us.
Tom, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
So, Mariann, as the economy continues to strengthen, companies are competing to gain new customers and retain existing ones. So what are some ways that companies can differentiate themselves through their customer support efforts?
You know, Tom, we live in very interesting times in the customer service market. According to Gartner, in less than 10 years, which is really not much time, even the world's most recognizable brands will lose their differentiation in a crowded and consumer-driven market. So the real question becomes, how will companies be able to sustain business growth in the next decade? Our view is that differentiating business through services is really becoming key to long-term success. One of the things that we love to look at is the results of surveys conducted by folks in the industry like you, and there's one that we really like from Purdue University. The study looked at 3 different scenarios, and in the first scenario, Purdue found that after purchasing a product that was problem-free, customers had a 78% probability of repurchasing again from that company. If they had a product with problems coupled with a bad customer experience, the repurchasing rates were dismal, as you might expect, only 32%. But by far and above, the highest repurchasing rate occurs after a consumer buys a product, experiences problems, but then has those problems resolved through a satisfying customer care experience. So why the boost? Wouldn't you think that the highest percentage would be for the product with no problems? Well, absolutely not. That problematic product and the resulting positive customer experience really gives businesses a unique and powerful opportunity to build trust and loyalty and commitment. And that's the bottom line impact of good service. Every day, customers have a variety of experiences with different touch points in a business, what we like to call moments of truth. We've got a Gartner chart here that shows us very clearly that not every experience is of equal impact or value to your customers. Service is a subjective and often emotional issue. For example, an okay tech support experience is important, but an installer that defaults on a service promise, causing a customer's day to be completely upended, matters far more. And many businesses really only take an inside-out approach to service. They automate what's painful for them and not what matters to the customers. And so we've seen the customers who take the time and effort to map their customers' emotional service transfer points, we call them, and then create processes to address these, really win in the long term. So when you combine that with the powerful macro trends in today's service environment, customer experience is rapidly becoming democratized by social media, multimedia communications, the rapid evolution of self-service, and really one thing is deniable, that the customer experience is now squarely in the hands of the customer, like nothing we've seen before. So we are working with our customers to ensure that they don't ignore the sea change that's happening, because the alternative is really to become irrelevant to both your customers and your business. So the challenge for all of us is to be relevant and maintain competitive edge by delivering a differentiated experience for every customer at every touch point.
Okay, that's great. Thanks. So what would you say are some of the benefits that a cloud-based contact center services can provide to companies as they go about trying to differentiate their support services?
There are a lot of powerful benefits that moving to the cloud can deliver to today's contact centers. They include connecting multiple locations together seamlessly to provide a consistent level of service to customers wherever they are and wherever they call. Support for at-home workforce, which leads to a more effective and personalized agent management interaction. The ability to really grow and change and flex with the business, adding agents and contact centers, campaigns, and programs on the fly. A big thing for our customers, and I'm sure for yours as well, is the ability to communicate with customers in the way that they choose, via chat or email, text, Facebook. Rapid deployment of really new and meaningful self-service solutions that give customers more choices in interacting with your business. And all of these with no upfront capital expense and heavy implementation requirements. But back to the issue at hand, the most important and powerful benefit of the cloud is we find that by outsourcing the day-to-day management of the technology infrastructure, it gives us the ability to focus time and energy on strategies for customer retention and loyalty and really building the business.
Are there companies that are really doing this well in terms of differentiating their support?
We have a lot of great customer stories. Let's talk a little bit about Activision. For those of you that don't know Activision, they are the power behind Guitar Hero and Call of Duty. Activision had a growing base that was really beginning to hockey stick up at the same time that their existing and legacy premise phone system was on its way down. And the combination of those two things made it really difficult for them to manage call volumes and provide the level of service that they needed to grow the business. During a 3-month holiday period, which was their busiest time, their call volumes went through the roof, which you'd think would be a good thing. But unfortunately, because their 10-year-old phone system only allowed them to handle 24 concurrent calls, they really couldn't service customers in the way that they wanted, and that was core to their brand. They also had to look at the addition of a second contact center to handle their tech support calls, and had very limited visibility into actual contact center performance. So they wanted to delight customers but didn't have a way of measuring how customers really felt. So they made a decision to leave their premise-based system behind and move to the cloud. Activision didn't have to buy a lot of equipment and really simply could request new agent ports as their business grew and contracted both. And they saved a lot of money and were able to help customers whenever they called. In addition, in order to better serve their customers, they decided to use an outsourcer to handle their technical support calls. But then they had the challenge of really connecting two geographically different centers with different infrastructures, and were faced with the possibility of serving up two completely different customer experiences. But in the cloud, the problems were resolved, and we helped them really take those two centers and transform them into one virtual customer service department, where Activision customers could call and be instantly sent to the relevant contact center for their needs, regardless of where they were located. And last but not least, Activision faced this issue around performance metrics, really understanding how they were doing. And in employing workforce optimization tools in the cloud, they then had the ability to answer and analyze things like abandon rates and duration of breaks and hear feedback from their customers that gave them the insight they needed for quality control and to create a positive and branding customer experience. There are hundreds of stories like these, Tom, and they all share one common theme, and that is that the cloud gives you the power to put your customers first, which is really key to surviving and thriving in today's competitive environment.
Okay, great. Well, Mariann, thanks for this example and also for sharing your insights with us today.
Thank you. It's always great to talk to you, Tom.